Please rise to pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Brooks.
here.
Mr. Brown.
Here.
Mrs. Davis. Here. Mr. DeFrancesco.
Here.
Mr. Giroux.
Here.
Mr. Gulick.
Here.
Mr. Johnston.
Here.
Mr. Lynch.
Here.
Mr. Gillespie.
Here. Thank you.
All right. Recommend approval of the attached meeting minutes for April 6 and 8.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
We've got several presentations today. I'm going to turn it over to Ken. You can call the coaches up, hand out the awards.
Okay, first we want to recognize our student athletes from the Sagertown High School wrestling team. Coach Jimmy Mulligan.
A couple of the guys just finished the baseball game, so I don't think they're gonna make it.
A couple words you want to say about the season?
We had a pretty good season for the whole COVID deal. Landon Codwell and Jaden Regal qualified for the state tournament, so they became our 33rd and 34th state qualifier. And then Hunter Robinson, section champ, district champ, region champ, super region champ, state semifinalist, lost in the semifinals, ended up taking 5th in the state, and he became our 39th state place winner in school history, which sits at 6th all-time in PIAA history for AA schools, which is pretty cool. We bring a great young team back. We had a couple kids who placed the junior high state, so we're looking forward to a bright future. Thank you.
Next, we'd like to recognize the Cambridge Springs High School wrestling, Coach Dalton Lester. The two wrestlers that for Northwest Regional qualifiers were Brody Beck. Right here. And Gunnar Gage. Is he here this evening? Not here this evening? Congratulations on your achievement.
Brody, you want to tell us a little about your season?
I won sections, first ever freshman section champ from Cambridge. Took 5th at districts and then lost by a point at regions and didn't make it through.
Well, congratulations.
Next, also up at Cambridge Springs High School, the girls basketball team went into the state playoffs pretty well. And we have Coach Ryan McKissick here. You want to say a few words?
Thank you.
Introduce yourself.
Yep, sure. Well, first of all, I want to thank everyone that's here for letting the season happen. That was very important for these kids, especially during this COVID season. It meant a lot to the kids. We had a great season, Region 2 champs. Went down to West Middlesex and won the District 10 championship, 51-36. First time in school history at Cambridge Springs that's ever happened. So these kids are pretty proud about that. Unfortunately, a lot of them play softball and have other things going on, so they couldn't be here, but we do have a fair amount here. This is Madison Yance. Madison was first team all-region, region player of the year, first team all-district. This is her sister, KK. She's second team all-region. She's a sophomore. Madison's a junior. Liz Klein, a junior, also. Finley Rauscher, a sophomore. And Moira York, a freshman. Obviously, all these kids are back next year, including everyone else on our team. We only had one senior, and she was a first-time player and was hurt most of the year, so never really saw any time. So again, just thank you for letting the season happen, and these girls are very excited. So thank you.
Congratulations. Do we have any seniors here tonight? Landon's a senior, right?
Regal,
Just Regal.
just Regal.
And he's playing baseball right now?
Yeah.
You want to tell us what's he doing next year?
Jaden is going to be wrestling for Mercyhurst University, and he signed up for the Army National Guard, so, ROTC, so going to get a full ride at college, and looking forward to seeing him wrestling at the next level.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
His
And
picture's
Carly
on our
Steiner, Carly
website.
Steiner, who wasn't here tonight, she also is the first girl, and but I was wrong when I said in the paper, she's the second girl in Crawford County history to wrestle at the collegiate level. There was a Boozer girl from Cockerton about 8 years ago who wrestled at Lock Haven. But Carly will be wrestling at Gannett University next year, which is pretty exciting.
It is. Thank you and congratulations. Ken?
Next, we have some awards from our highly decorated Sagertown High School journalism group. Ms. Hetrick, their supervisor, is here. Say a few words and present your awards.
First of all, I'd like to thank the board for the support of the Panther Press. Ladies, you can step up. All right. Pennsylvania School Press Association has a write-in contest every year. That means that you show up and you have 1 hour to write the story based on the facts that they give you. And Amanda Corral has won first place for news writing from the Pennsylvania School Press Association. That is the state championship finals for journalism. This is the first time that we have won that award in probably the toughest category in the PSPA finals. So congratulations to Amanda Corral. Second, the Pennsylvania News Media Association runs 2 editorial contests every year. One is for It Can Wait, which is texting and driving. And the newest one that they have is Stop Cyberbullying. And we entered these in January. Every member of the Panther Press entered one or both. And we are very happy to report that we have 2 winners from Sagertown High School. Loren Edwards, a freshman, has been awarded 3rd place and will receive $150 from the PA News Media Association. Congratulations. And Haiku Peters, a senior at Sagertown High School and the features editor, has won 1st place in the Stop Cyberbullying editorial contest. She will receive $500 from the PA News Media Association.
Congratulations, ladies.
Thank you.
Haiku, you're a senior. You want to share what you're doing next year?
I will be attending Clarion University as an English major.
Amanda's a senior too.
Oh, Amanda, yes.
I will be attending Mercyhurst as an intelligence studies major.
Congratulations and good luck to you. We do appreciate, it's one of the highlights of the board is to hear what you guys are doing and all of your accomplishments and how you're representing PENNCREST. We appreciate it. Thank you for it. We're going to continue with our meeting. If anybody needs to leave because they need to study or want to do home, they've got, they want to take a shower. So we'll take a quick break and all the students that need to leave to continue their education can do so.
Hey, how are you?
That's okay, All right, we're going to continue with student delegation representatives. Sagertown High School, Haiku Peters.
All right. Good evening. My name is Haiku Peters, and I'm from the Panther Press. I'm here to update you on what's happening at Sagertown High School. The 40th PENNCREST Haiku was held on May 5th in the Sagertown Auditorium. Final score was Sagertown 285, Cambridge Springs 250, and Maplewood 60. Congratulations to the Sagertown team of Haiku Peters, Amanda Crow, Royal Miller, and Ezra McClymans for bringing home the gold to Sagertown. Sagertown High School prom will be held May 15th at the Sagertown Elementary School from 7 to 10 p.m. The red carpet will begin at 6:30 p.m. and royalty will be crowned at 9 p.m. This year's prom theme is the Fabulous 80s. Students have been diligently working on completing their AP exams last week and this week. AP exams will conclude at SHS on May 25th with a total of 82 exams being taken by 50 students. Next week, students will be taking the PSSA and Keystone exams. Students who are not being tested will have virtual days on May 18th to the 20th. Good luck to all who are testing. Sagertown currently has 5 seniors who will be entering the military. They are Zachary Dalton, Army, Emily Dunn, Marines, Riley Crassa, Army, Jaden Regal, National Guard, and Jacob Reisinger, National Guard. We honor their commitment to serving the country. Spring sports are beginning to wind down their seasons. Hopefully all sport teams will make the playoffs. Thank you for your time, and follow us at Panther Press SHS on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't believe there's a PA representative report today. We do have a registered citizen comments. Sarah Mast,
Yes. Do I just stand here to talk?
wherever you feel comfortable.
It doesn't matter. We had quite a few questions with what's going on with the taxes being raised. And I have such a compassion for older people. They work their whole life to retire, and there's a lot of them that are crying with tears. They can no longer handle the cost of living. And I just wonder, I don't know how many people realize, but we already are above average per student. It's almost $17,000 per student in Pennsylvania, and the national average is $13,000. Well, if this gets put up on us, it's going to be $19,065. What we're trying to figure out is, with the money that was given through the stimulus, like the leave grants that they got for the pandemic was $3.3 million and another $300,000. Why is the increase on the rent of the taxes for the working people that work their whole life and they're like paying rent every month and can barely make it? I just feel that someone has to get a heart where they care about the people and not just about the students. We care about the students, but we care about everybody. And I don't mean to step on anybody's toes, but one thing I've wondered, who is actually eligible? I think it's so important to have a business degree that you know what you're doing when you're making decisions, because money does not grow on trees. And it seems to just swipe through. Pennsylvania is bad for it. Like, we have a daughter in North Carolina, we have several down there, but the one owns a home that has 7 bathrooms. I mean, it's huge. Their taxes are just a little bit more than what our taxes are here. It just makes no sense. They have a feel about it. So I just think someone needs to stop the bleeding, and I really would appreciate if you guys would do that.
Thank you. We do have another budget meeting scheduled for May 25th. We do have some information on the district website that will kind of provide some additional information about where that money is, how it goes in and out. But we're going to do that. You can either attend in person on the 25th at 6 p.m. Or you can attend via Zoom, and you can submit questions in a chat. And myself, the business manager, will be there, and we'll be able to answer any questions that the public may have. So please know that is an opportunity for an additional give and take opportunity before we vote on the final budget, which is in June. So I appreciate you coming and making those comments today. I'm going to start with the agenda. Athletic Committee, item A, recommend approval of the following coach resignations.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item C, recommend approval to employ the following coaches effective for the 21-22 school year.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item B, recommend approval to accept the resignations from the following cheerleading advisors.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item D, recommend approval of the attached 21-22 coach handbook.
On behalf of the committee, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item E, recommend approval to accept a donation of $11,750 from Tom Lang for the purchase of the SHS scoreboard for Cannon Memorial Field.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I
All
just,
those-
yeah, no, I was just gonna express my gratitude and say thank you to Mr. Lang, that's very generous, appreciate it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Please note, we did thank Mr. Lang, and Mr. Baker, principal, is going to write him a note of appreciation as well. Education Committee, Mr. Brooks, chairman. We had an education update, talked about the end of the year endeavors in our summer planning as well as student assessments. No need to vote. Item B, recommend approval of attached list of 2021 graduates for Cambridge, Maplewood, and Sagertown High Schools.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item C, recommend approval of one PENNCREST Cyber Academy graduate from Cambridge Springs Junior High attendance area for early graduation.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item D, recommend approval to issue a PENNCREST diploma to 3 Bethesda students who have fulfilled graduation requirements.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item E, recommend approval to issue a PENNCREST diploma to one CCCF student who has fulfilled graduation requirements.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item F, recommend approval of the attached 24-month agreement with the Caring Foundation.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item G, recommend approval of the attached agreement with Titusville School District.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item H, recommend approval of the attached proposal and budget from Parkside Psychological Associates for a therapeutic classroom mental health specialist.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just for the public, could you explain what this is all about?
Yeah, we opened we're planning to open a new therapeutic support classroom for the upcoming school year that will be staffed with a mental health professional as well as a special education teacher. Typically, students that needed these kinds of services were serviced in outside schools. Those schools are almost to capacity or at capacity, and there's a wait list. So we see a need in our school district for this type of support, and we're going to provide it, and ultimately will save the district money.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item I, recommend approval of the attached 3-year Cisco collaboration license.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item J, recommend approval to dispose of the attached list of textbooks and resources in accordance with policies 108 and 706.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Facilities and Transportation Committee, Mr. Johnson, Chairman. Item A, at the work session, we had a GISA project update. Please understand that we are ahead of schedule as the project is really quite underway when we have employees working second shift. We also had some folks do some work over the extended student breaks. So we're ahead of schedule and completion set to complete on time before the beginning of the 21-22 school year. Item B, recommend approval of the attached sales agreement for the Woodcock Academy.
On behalf of the committee, I make that recommendation.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item C, recommend approval of the attached quote from Suit Coat for the Sagertown High School lot seal coat.
On behalf of the committee, I make that recommendation.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item D, recommend approval of Sandra Roman as a van driver for PM Bus.
On behalf of the committee, I make that recommendation.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Finance Committee, Mr. Brown, Chairman. Item A, recommend approval of the attached treasurer's reports.
On behalf of the committee, I make the recommendation.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item B, recommend approval of the attached disbursements.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item C, recommend approval of the 21-22 IU5 special education contracts as listed.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item D, recommend approval of the proposed 21-22 general operating fund budget and millage rates and authorize the business manager to prepare the PD 2028 budget document as attached. This is the budget as discussed. That includes a 0.5 mil increase.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. The way the motion is written, it appears to be a final approval. However, the other thing that's missing, the half a mil increase was supposed to be geared mainly to pay the bond. But the way it's written here, it looks like it's going to the general fund. And for the reason I cannot support this motion.
I also am not in favor of the budget because of the proposed tax increase. I've grown up in a family business and I've started my own business, and one thing I've realized is that there are always unnecessary expenses you can cut and efficiency you can gain. So I think rather than raising taxes, that's what we need to be seeking. It's a lot easier to raise taxes than it is to find those areas where we're inefficient at, but I think we need to look for those and address that first. So I will not be voting yes for this.
Now, we sat here 3 months ago or whatever about the Giza project. Everybody in this room agreed the only way we're going to pay for this Giza project is this half mil increase. We do not have the money. You can go through that budget. You had several months to go through that budget. How are we How are we cutting $20 million?
I said from the beginning that I was not gonna be in favor, even when we talked about that 10 million.
That's funny, you did not say that. when we
You
were
voted
talking.
yes for the spending.
Yes, you did.
I did vote yes then.
Yes, you
not-
did vote yes to do the spending.
I just said
And
I did.
we did it twice, and we voted yes
said-
both times.
I said yes to
Now
it.
you're saying no. And we're in the whole 20 million, and we can't send that back.
I said yes to the $10 million bond at the time.
You
which
said yes
was-
to both of them.
Okay, which was not the right decision at the time.
Okay.
I did say that I was not in favor of the 0.5 mil increase. And there had been talk, if we had done that it would go back to the taxpayers when the bonds were done. That's nowhere in here either.
No, that question was arising, we said that's gonna be a long ways away, we're gonna have to see where our expenses are. You never said it was gonna go back there.
Regardless, I think we need to be finding these inefficiencies and reevaluate to get rid of
Okay.
some. That's just my stance on it.
Well, I tell you what, I would really love to see a report from you where there are inefficiencies.
I'm sure
We have cut. Since I've been on this board, we have cut. The only thing we can do is start cutting more programs. Well, what do we do?
I don't know where we need to start. That's not ultimately my decision. It's
Well,
the board's as a whole,
it's
but.
9 of us make
Mr.
that
President,
decision.
point of order. This is a motion on the floor. Don't give a little way to argue between board members. You know,
This is
not
discussion.
just keep going.
This is
It's-
discussion.
This
We
is
can
discussion.
discuss
If you have a way to make a cut, show us. Don't sit here and say we can cut. I've been on this finance for a lot of years, and let me tell you, we have trimmed. Brian has done a fantastic job, Dr. Glasspool's done a fantastic job. The state keeps throwing more at us, the federal government keeps throwing more at us, they keep taking more away from us as far as money. We have more mental health issues than we've ever had. We've had all these issues with transportation, diesel fuel going up, gas prices going up, cost of living going up for us, all the utilities we pay go up every year. What do we cut? We start cutting sports, we start cutting programs,
You are right, the cost of living goes up for sure, gas is
and it
going
goes up for everybody, but it
Yep.
goes up for the district as a whole.
Yes, it does, but
The cost of educating a child goes up. Buying them, the supplies to educate them, the books, all the computers, all the all the software and stuff, that costs money. Nobody's giving that to us.
no, nobody is, but the cost of living goes up and that's why taxes are there to raise. I don't believe now is the time to be raising them though. We put,
And we have raised the
for example,
least amount of any district.
one thing that we did recently that I did vote for, and I can't go back on that now, but was this garage that we built out here. That was like $500,000 that we put into that. We had the Blooming Valley place which we sold
Did you
for
see
a
that?
fraction of that.
Did you see the Blooming Valley place?
Yeah, I've been in there.
Do you know how
many
much it
times.
would cost to fix that up?
Not much. The
Oh.
roofing needed some work and we needed insulation.
That thing was rotten.
I'd like to hear other people's opinion, other board members' opinion.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Okay. I've been on the board almost 4 years, and a couple of those years, we cut to the bone. We cut programs, services, you name it, we cut it. And I firmly believe that we're at rock bottom. If we cut any more, the kids are gonna suffer, the district's gonna suffer. No tax increase, in my opinion, is a good idea. And I agree with you when you spoke earlier about elderly. I feel bad for the elderly, I really do.
It's not right. I don't know how
However.
somehow, like, we grew up in a family of 14 children. My dad worked so hard.
All right, this is board discussion.
No, I understand, but my point is, $500,000, although no tax increases, great, $500,000 is, in my opinion, minimal. We're substituting several $1 million from the fund.
So, yeah, so just, you know,
Let's be honest.
the plan was to borrow $10 million 3 times for the GISA projects. That was the plan. the business office has estimated that a $500,000 increase for the next 3 years would cover the debt, the financing for that we would owe every year. So if you're gonna cut something out of the budget to cover that, say $389,000, we've all seen the schedules, it has to be a reoccurring cost. You can't cut something that's a one-time expenditure, like we're not gonna buy, new vans for our students. That's a one-time expenditure. That $389 is every year. So you're looking at $389,000 in operating costs. So, I mean, we discussed it. We can come back again. We prepared a presentation for May 25th, and we can discuss that. We can also discuss what a $500,000 looks like on the median and average assessed house in the district and things like that, if there are questions amongst the board. The budget that we're approving now is a proposed preliminary budget. Everything and nothing can change between now and when it's approved in June. I know everybody understands that. I'm just reiterating that for those that are here that may not.
I have two more comments. Number
Yeah,
one,
sorry.
there were several years in the last 10 or 12 years where they probably should have raised taxes and they didn't. That money would have continued every year and we would be in a better place right now, but they didn't do that. The other thing is, all the people who are not in favor of the tax increase, I just got this from PSBA, so this is my PSBA report. 400 school districts have sent letters to legislators. Out of the 500, 80% of the school districts have sent letters requesting cyber school reform, the way we pay for cyber school. We pay, how much is it, Brian, that we pay for cyber, $1 million?
We have, it's $2 million budgeted in this.
$2 million,
Yes.
okay. All of you people who do not want us to raise taxes, please get on the phone tomorrow or Monday and call your local representatives, Mr. Roy, Mrs. Brooks. Tell them that we need cyber reform and we can save tons of money, but for some reason they won't do it. That is one way that we could certainly save PENNCREST money and save you taxpayers money. Do it.
Outside cyber, in our next year's budget's increased $570,000. A $500,000 tax increase is $140,000 on a $55 million budget.
There you go.
Just a couple things. This is the preliminary proposed budget. The wording on this is the same exact as it was last year when Mr. DeFrancesco voted for it. The wording is exactly the same, and everything can change between now and then. That's not a reason not to vote for this. The tax increase of $500,000 was discussed and agreed to when we unanimously agreed to take on this spending. We all talked about it. It was brought up that each and every one of us knew this. When the recommendation came out of committee, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Lynch, Mr. DeFrancesco, you said that you would support the tax increase because we were doing the spending. It's easy to say cut. It's harder to do it. It's easier to say there's waste than to find actual waste. I know that you've been saying maybe go play for sports, maybe cut some sports, that the vans we had could have got some more years out of those. Those were not going to pay for $10 million in bond that we all agreed was needed. Maplewood campus is in horrible shape. It needs renovations. We put it off for way too long, and so that's why it costs so much to do it. Our district's consistently running a deficit. The mental health, education, the health needs of our community are becoming greater and greater. This is a proposed budget. We all said yes to the spending. We walked the walk. We talked the talk, and now's the time to walk the walk. And if you're not willing to walk the walk, I don't know what you're doing on the floor.
Unfortunately, this is an unnecessary evil. And I heard the comments, yes, my wife is a teacher. It's not like that my wife's gonna get the $140,000 check. My wife gets the same pay, it doesn't matter. Here's the deal, I see firsthand the problems that these kids come into the school with, the mental health issues. I see the problems that parents are facing. Not so much income, but we have so many homes that are single parent homes now, not like when we grew up, when we had mothers and fathers, family of 14 or whatever. Now you have a mom living here, dad living here, and you have all kinds of family issues. We have several kids that are literally homeless, living in cars that we have to take care of. The expenses have gone up tremendously that this district has to incur. The government does not help us. We are doing this. I don't have any more answers. Like Mr. Brooks says, our buildings are in bad shape, and we neglected them for 20 years. We're paying the price for it now. And there's nothing we can do. If we keep neglecting it, it's gonna cost half again as much, if not more. You see the building costs, go to Home Depot, look how much material it is. It's not getting any cheaper.
And I just want to reiterate too, this discussion of taxes, it's a difficult one. Nobody wants to raise taxes. It affects all of us. And I know as a mother of 4 children in our district, my oldest did just graduate, my heart is torn in two because I worry about the elderly. I have dear, dear friends that I've seen sit and worry about their bills. That's not lost on me. I've only been a school board member for a couple of years, but I sat as a parent and watched cuts that should not have happened in this district at a detriment to our children. So as much as I worry about our elderly and the people who founded this area, the people who have a strong history in this area, I'm also really concerned about our future. And I'm concerned about our children. And our children deserve a good education. They deserve to go in a building that is safe. And those buildings, years we didn't raise taxes. Years we didn't address the problem with the building. And any homeowner knows, if you let things go too far, you lose that building. And we can't ignore that. So I hear what's being said, and I don't want to raise taxes either, but I think we also have to really address, you can only ignore a problem for so long. You have to support the school. You have to support the kids. So.
And one last thing is, if you all will contact the local politicians, Crawford County has not done an assessment since 1969. Is that correct? So we have homes that are valued at $27,000 that they are being sold now on the market. You see our housing market going nuts. They're being appraised for $120,000. So if Crawford County would get off their butts and do their jobs and do a new assessment, we might be surprised how things will change. That's the other problem. Crawford County is hurting us. Crawford County is killing the whole, all the districts in Crawford County. Your least Erie County's done an assessment. They've updated their prices. Crawford County has not. We are still back in the 70s. That's not helping at all. So something else you can go to Crawford County meetings and do.
I still think with what we've gone through in the past year, it's a tough ask for the people.
Yes.
I know a lot of my neighbors are struggling big time. And then we've made a couple new hires and stuff. Some of them I think were necessary, but I just have a hard time in light of what's happened in this past year, coming to the table asking people that have lost jobs and lost income.
But you also have to think of the parents who sat with their children who lost programs that meant the world to them and actually impacted their future. Children who don't learn like everybody else, who depended on certain teachers and depended on certain programs that we as a district chose to cut a couple years ago. It hurt them. They need them back, and they've gotten some of them back. If we cannot cut when it comes to education. These kids deserve better. Like I said, we have to look at the whole picture. The whole picture.
Things aren't harder now than they were in December when we voted to spend this money. And so you vote to spend the money, then when it comes time to pay the bill, you're backing out on it. We discussed this, we all said we would vote for this tax increase, and now when it's time to do what you said you were gonna do, you're backing out on it. This was a hard decision in December when we voted to spend this money. It's a hard decision now. I understand how difficult it is. My mom's got 87 acres up on Toma Road, and she's on a fixed income, and my dad just died, she's got dementia. That tax increase is going up. My uncle, he owns a couple hundred acres up there. These go up, these guys are on fixed incomes, and there's no other way to do this. We can make cuts if we want to make cuts. It's going to hurt people so that when they get to retirement age, they're not going to have the skills that they need so that they're not struggling as much as we are right now. We voted because the Planned Transportation Committee recommended it. We all said there was gonna be a tax increase involved, and now it's time to just chicken out on it. I just can't imagine that that's the way that we wanna act.
And if I remember correctly, Mr. Giroux proposed the tax to be exclusively to pay for these repairs.
That is correct.
That's
And the
correct.
way it's written over here, it goes to a general fund.
Well, we pay the debt service out of the general fund. The debt service is a 900 object level expense. So it's in the general fund. It's,
You'll see in the final budget in June, part of that budget is going to be a list of your fund balance. Okay, a section of that fund balance is going to be the 140,000 that's designated for the debt.
It'll be line
Well,
by line.
Yeah,
It will have to be corrected next time, it'll be one.
well, when we had our last one, he did have that wrote out for us. If you go back in your notes. It was Luigi, I mean, he showed it.
And just the last thing, this is just a formality. This is not the real budget. Everything's gonna change. This is a box to check off for the state that we have to do by law so we can get our budget and then vote for the real budget next month. This is showcasing and grandstanding if you vote no on it today.
please understand there are 3 presentations and documents on the district website that outline this. We will follow up with the presentation on May 25th. The 5% millage increase nets the district $140,000 approximately. Just for information, the average assessed house, not the value, the average assessed house, the median assessed house in Crawford County is about $26,500. That increase a year is $13.50. So that's what the median is. So it's $1.13 a month. You're gonna see that in gas prices, you fill your tank up tomorrow. I mean, I understand that, I understand people are hurting, but again, it's $140,000 to help offset the cost of the $20 million borrowing. Do we vote?
One roll call. Luigi gets back.
No. You want a roll call?
Roll call.
Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis? Yes. Mr.
You're gonna have to wait for Luigi.
Senator DeFrancesco really slowly.
There he is.
Mr. DeFrancesco, we're voting, roll call voting on the proposed budget.
Thank you.
Mr. DeFrancesco?
No.
Mr. Giroux?
Yes.
Mr. Gulick?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
No.
Mr. Lynch?
No.
Mr. Valesky?
No.
5 to 4.
What was that?
Passed 5 to 4.
Thank you.
Motion passes.
Item E, recommend approval of the attached 21-22 food service management company agreement and budget with Nutrition Inc.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Question. Talking about item B, right? Now, it shows us a deficit. I can never understand who pays for that, you know, who takes care of the deficit, Mr. Business Manager?
That is a part of the deficit will be in the cafeteria fund. That'll be in the cafeteria fund that would come out of any reserve they have, or it would carry over to the next year so we can whittle that down.
Is the district paying for it?
It is in the cafeteria fund, it's not in the general fund.
But the district pays.
The cafeteria fund is part of the district's programs, yes.
Guess I don't understand. We hire them to do our food service, and then if they have a deficit, we make it up.
What was the actual last year?
The actual, I think, was a positive of 30,000, if I remember right. Again, with this budget, because of the new regulations from the federal government, and again, next year, everybody,
all the children are going to be eating for free. As long as PDE passes that, this budget is probably going to be improved by at least $300,000. But because of PD not passing that authority yet, this is the budget that has to be passed.
So, in other words, there might be a possibility that funds, there will be, somebody else will pay the deficit.
No.
No.
Any deficit in the food service is the district's responsibility. This is remember Melissa was here via Zoom on Monday. She presented the budget. This is the budget she presented. She said that it was a very conservative budget on the current legislation. However, with the Everyone Eats Free Act, that does not include that, and she is not anticipating this being the actual budget. This is her estimated budget. And in her words, I think we're conservative.
Yes, that's what
I
she said.
guess I misunderstood when Brian said something about there's a possibility of recouping 300,000.
We anticipate that this is not going to be the end budget. Last year's budget was plus $30,000. This year's budget will most likely be a positive because it was the Everyone Eats Free Act.
With all the students eating free with his new guidelines, the district or the fund, the cafeteria fund, actually gets a higher reimbursement. That's how that $300,000 could be made up from the federal government.
Don't go out on Facebook saying I said you're going to do that. Opposed. I have no control over
Any further discussion?
Roll call, please.
Roll call.
Mr. Brown?
that. Yeah.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. DeFrancesco?
No.
Mr. Giroux?
Yes.
Mr. Gulick?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Mr. Lynch?
Yeah.
Mr. Valesky?
Yes.
Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item F, recommend approval to exonerate the district's elected tax collectors from collecting the delinquent 2021 real estate and per capita taxes as attached.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item G, recommend approval of the attached agreement with Government Software Services to print the 21 real estate and per capita tax bills.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item H, recommend approval of the service purchase contracts for medical services rendered during the 21-22 school year as attached.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Personnel Committee, Mr. Brooks, Chairman. Item A was added prior to the meeting. Recommend approval. Second. I apologize, disregard the bottom. Recommend approval to waive the PAEA CBA Article 18C retirement pay for a deadline of March 17th at 4 p.m.
May 17th.
May 17th, thank you so much.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
None of these on this list have a debt for,
No.
okay.
Good question.
Good catch.
Great. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item B, recommend approval of following resignations as listed.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item C, recommend approval to eliminate the PENNCREST Cyber Academy secondary teacher and coordinator and the elementary teacher and coordinator positions.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item D, recommend approval to create the position of Director of PENNCREST Cyber Academy.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. What I'd like to know is the business manager actually worked out an economic analysis to see if this will actually pay off, that it pays a lot for the district to have our own PENNCREST Cyber Academy. Considering the fact that the director we're hiring right now, I mean, I don't see any guarantee it's going to work if we can get, number one, the kids back to our own economy. We have additional costs, which of course, you know, somebody got to pay for the additional cost. And we paid, the motion says that the cost for a direct will be $9,000, and I add up the pension fund, which would be $31,000. His actual salary will be over $120,000 plus benefits. So did we work out numbers? How many years will it take at least to be even?
Well, in general, if we did not have our own cyber academy, we currently have, what, 200 students in
232.
If those students decide to go to an outside cyber academy, that's going to cost you about an additional $3.5 million. So that's going to be your savings by keeping your own academy.
In other words, all the new hires that we have, you know, we hope, I'm saying hope, that eventually we don't have to spend those $2 million to somebody else unless the legislators wake up and do something about it.
That's correct. I mean, actually, we were heading in that direction before the pandemic. Once the pandemic hit, our outside cyber enrollment was decreasing. When the pandemic hit, that jumped it back up to where it's at right now.
Thank you.
I think the ultimate goal, though, is making these hires, is having somebody that's dedicated, and I agree with you 100%, Luigi, I question that, is if we have somebody dedicated and she's doing an excellent job of keeping a good communication, because we've all heard the same complaints from the same parents, lack of communication is one of the things that they were against. I think with Kelly in that position, she surrounds herself with good people. I think our Cyber Academy has a good chance against the others, especially with the good curriculum that we're working.
And this is something we can revisit too, like because of COVID, we have 230 some students, but that's like, it may drop or maybe we'll go up in numbers, we don't know. So someday, based on the numbers, we can make a better decision too on keeping the Cyber Academy or what.
Well, in 2 years, hey, maybe we're all back in person.
Yeah, maybe they
It's still worth the money.
Or maybe the pandemic has changed education forever.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate to say it.
We don't know. There's so many unknowns right now.
As we continue to improve PENNCREST Cyber, we might pull students from PA Cyber and some of those other cyber schools that we're paying, and then save even more money in the long run.
That's the thing,
Possible.
virtual education
Yeah,
is
it's
not
possible.
going away, pandemic or not.
And that's the key, we hope it's going to work.
And quite honestly, like what we saw tonight with the presentations for the sports and Mrs. Hedrick's class, or, you know, the newspaper, that's something else that's, you know, good to draw in your students. What brings students back is to see we're succeeding in other areas. That's why the last time we did on cuts, that hurt us. We lost a lot of kids over that. So, this, like you said, is probably the future.
Anything else? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item E, recommend approval to employ Kelly Trenga as the Director of PENNCREST Cyber Academy effective July 1, 2020, at a salary of $81,000.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item F, recommend approval to create a district-wide speech and language clinician effective 21-22 school year.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item G, recommend approval to employ the following individuals.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item H. Recommend approval to appoint the following individuals for Article 19 extra compensatory positions within the current CBA.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Second. Got knocked out. Appreciate your patience. I know what motion are we on?
H.
Oh, you're on I.
Aye. Thank you. Item I, recommend approval to employ the following individuals.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item J, recommend approval of the following extended school year instructors for summer 2021.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item K, recommend approval to employ the following temporary summer employees effective June 14 through August 20.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item L, recommend approval to employ the following individuals as support staff substitutes.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item M, recommend approval to appoint Kristen Eckert as a treasurer effective July 1 through June 30, 22.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item N, recommend approval to appoint Cynthia Paxton as the board secretary for a 4-year term effective July 1 through June 30, 2025.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item O, recommend approval to appoint Denise Gable as the assistant board secretary for a 4-year term effective July 21 through June 30, 25.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item P, recommend approval to appoint the following summer interns for the technology department effective June 9, 21 through August 16, 21.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item Q, recommend approval of the attached MOA with the PAEA.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Policy Committee, Mr. DeFrancesco, Chair. Item A, recommend approval of the policies as listed.
I move to accept the recommendation of the committee.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item B, recommend approval of the attached superintendent evaluation tool.
I move to accept the recommendation of the committee.
Second.
As written.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item C, our first readings for policies. I would ask that the board and public take a look at what is a revised policy, but in a sense is a new policy. Policy 815 deals with district social media. This is a policy that came right from PSBA. The board looked at it, the committee looked at it, made some changes to it, but this is a policy we'd like everyone to make sure that they focus on for the upcoming meeting.
I have a question about that policy.
Sure.
How does that affect the,
Gotta make a motion.
it's just the first reading?
It's the first reading, so we'll just.
It shouldn't say action, it says activation.
Somebody wrote action.
How does that affect like our student newspapers and stuff?
We haven't got that far. That's why I would seriously like everyone to take a look at it and read it. We've had some conversations,
Okay.
certainly we're going to talk with Mr. Joseph as well. But again, that's why I'm bringing it to your attention and trying to point it out. And again, if we need a month and 2 months of reading, I think we just need to make sure we get it finalized before the start of the school year.
Thank you.
School Safety Committee, Mr. Brown, Chairman. We have item A, recommend approval of the attached memorandum of understanding between the Pennsylvania State Police and each PENNCREST school.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Crawford County Career and Tech Center report, Mr. Johnson.
Got a couple things. We have a grant for equipment. They're looking to get a fork truck and a boom lift donated to the Career Center. And we had some students in cosmetology class place in the state's competition. And also they got donated to the Career Center a fire truck, of all things. They're gonna, I think it's for the diesel class, if I'm not mistaken, but they're figuring on maybe using it in parades and stuff like that. They were pretty pumped about that. That's all I got.
All right, thank you. Intermediate unit number 5 report, Ms. Brooks.
We had our I-5 meeting the end of last month. One of the things they discussed will be coming up in the PSBA report. Another interesting fact they brought up is 56% of schools are expecting an increase in retirements after the pandemic. When you add to that the shortage of teachers coming up, it could lead to some difficulties for school districts going forward.
Thank you. PSB legislative report, Mr. Gulick. We have a couple voting items. Item A, recommend approval of the attached right to know resolution.
As the liaison, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item B, recommend approval of the attached PSBA 21-22 membership renewal and policy maintenance program participation agreement.
As the liaison, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
The other statement I'd like to make is that this is not free for us, you know, we do pay a fee, it's about $10,000. It's about $10,000 a year, you know, to be a member of the SBA.
Oh, I see.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
stuff. Brings us to new business. Board member remarks?
Luigi?
Well, we went through a hell of a year in 2020 and going also in the initial months of 21. This COVID pandemic caused a lot of headaches. But who mostly paid the price was our students. They were not able to come to school because of recommendations they made out there from Washington and the state government. And looks like they're still suffering because of the decision that they made without thinking about and without even executed existing health law that Pennsylvania have, believe it or not. You know, Pennsylvania has existing health laws that have been put in place. Instead of going through with masks all the time, you got a healthy individual wearing masks everywhere. And I can't figure it out. But hopefully things are going to change for the better. And people have to make up their mind what they want to do. Yeah, sure. You know, we're all scared that we might die unexpectedly. I got hit with COVID. I'm 75 years old, and I'm still here. It was a month ago, so you don't have to worry about it. I'm immune, I guess, from another attack, if it's going to be another attack. But we have to live with it. You know, Americans have gone through a lot of diversity and diversities through the ages. And Americans hope they won't change, and then they still come back and fight for what's right and do the best to improve the life for everybody, not just us individually, but everybody. And another pandemic like this, you know, I mean, we have the pandemics before. We can go back to World War I when a soldier went to Europe spreading the Spanish flu. I mean, most of us survived. And I say most of us, including me, because my parents lived, you know, that could have got the Spanish flu. Their parents would have got other diseases. But the world would go around. And like I say, I have faith in the American public, and I hope that the youth of America will think as Americans, like their forefathers, they give us what we got today. That's it.
Okay. I think we have a pandemic about every 100 years, so I hope I'm still around for the next one. On a serious note, today the CDC said that if you're fully vaccinated, you no longer have to wear a mask, other than traveling and a few other restrictions. So if you haven't heard that, spread the word. That's a good thing. I'd like to congratulate the spring sports teams on a good season. Wish them luck in the last few games that they have, and good luck in the playoffs. And if you didn't make the playoffs, better luck next year. I think this is our last meeting before all the kids leave school for whatever they're doing. Just want to wish the graduates good luck, and I'm sure all our PENNCREST graduates will do us proud, as we saw with the kids over here earlier. Congratulations to all those, by the way. And to those who are not seniors and are coming back, I just wish you a happy, safe summer. And that's it.
Thanks to all the athletes and the journalists who are here receiving their awards. It's great to see the exceptionalism here in PENNCREST and the work that all our kids do. With spring sports being in full swing, you know, thanks to all the students, coaches, and parents who are playing their sports after not being able to just a year ago. Spring sports were canceled, and it's hard to believe that was a year ago. It seems like a decade ago that was when that happened. Sports are more than just hitting a ball, running and jumping. They connect our kids to the community. They build a lot of skills like confidence, teamwork, hard work. And it was shown recently when we shut down sports, grades dropped. Kids get ineligible, kids are less motivated to be in school and less likely to perform. And not everybody likes to go to school just to do algebra. Sometimes sports are important for kids academically as well. We certainly have some work to do to see how we can improve the athletic opportunities for our kids, but I would like to again thank the parents, coaches, and kids for working so hard. I'd take time to mention the boosters, but the limits on attendance this last year, there's been limits on fundraisers, and many of our booster programs in the area are suffering because there weren't 50/50s, there weren't concession stands, and a lot of the money that we as a district rely on boosters to spend was coming out of their funds that generally they get a chance to recoup during the season. Speaking of underappreciated groups like boosters, as we wind up the school year, thank you to all the teachers in our district. 14 months ago, we shut down our schools on a Friday, and on Wednesday we were up doing online classes that counted for a grade. And I think it's easy to forget the work that our teachers have done as we have the ever-shifting mandates from the state and the ever-present pandemic in our schools as we shut down, we go virtual, we go hybrid, and we shut down, that they have been very flexible and they've done a magnificent job helping our district get through. On Monday, something I think that's very important that we talked about was the girls wrestling program that we're going to get worked out. That is a huge step for our area to be one of the leaders in Pennsylvania and the fastest growing sport in the nation. At prom time, kids, be smart, be safe, and lastly, it's great to have Mark Giroux back in the room. We've gotten better looking as a group with Mark back in the room. So that's all I have.
Well, I'd like to congratulate all of our award winners tonight for the sports and the journalism programs that shows that our students do have a desire to excel, and I appreciate that. That's one of the reasons why we made the decision back at the beginning of the year to get back here in person, because our kids were suffering with the mandates from the pandemic. And I appreciate all of the students' efforts, not just our sports winners. All of our kids have done a fantastic job through this.
Me? Okay, so I'd like to also congratulate the student athletes and the journalists that were here tonight for all of your hard work, for your dedication to what you do. We're proud of you, and it's really nice to see. I love when the kids come in and we can see all the progress that they've made. I'd also like to congratulate the upcoming grads. You're a part of history. It's been quite a year, and something I'm sure we'll all look back on with all sorts of crazy stories, but we made it through this year, and I'm proud of all of you for that too. And I look forward to seeing where you're going to go, because I know no matter what, these kids, they're going places. So I just also would like to congratulate Dr. Trenga with her new position as the director of PENNCREST Cyber Academy. And personally, I want to thank you for taking that position. You've been such a support and a light as a cyber parent for what has been a heck of a year. And those phone calls from Dr. Trenga sometimes were just what this mom needed. So I know you're going to do great in that position. So thanks for taking that. And we're so close to the end of the year. I'm really looking forward to what next year is going to look like for our district. I think it's going to be a good one. So thank you for all your hard work.
Congratulations again to the journalists and the athletes both. Accomplishments, and thank you to Sarah Mast for coming out this evening and addressing the board. That's it.
Yeah, I want to thank you for coming out and addressing the board too. Also, good luck with our Cyber Academy. I hope that works out well for us, bringing more students into it. I know a couple that have joined it instead of going outside or staying in the district. So far they seem pretty happy with the way things are going. So congratulations to our journalist winners and stuff. They're learning skills that will bring them hopefully a long career good luck for our prom people, and especially want to thank the students that are joining the military. I appreciate what they're going to do for us. It'll be my thoughts when they go and do what they're doing, so thank you.
All right, well, being last kind of stinks because everybody said everything. So, first off, I want to wish all the students good luck on all the exams coming up. And I know it's late, but all the mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. And I apologize, but forgot about Teacher Appreciation Week. And we usually say something, do something, but this year's just kind of been a madhouse. So thank you to all the teachers out there for everything they've done. It has been a horrible year trying to keep up. Things changed. Dr. Glasgow did a fantastic job. Things changed literally hourly. We got emails every hour change. So it's been a struggle. It's been a long year, and we're on the other side. It's looking good. All the athletes and the journalists, thank you. You guys did an awesome job. It was great to see you up here. And to all the graduates, I want to wish you all the best of luck. I can tell you that there's help wanted signs everywhere. Now is a good time to graduate, and finding a job is not hard to do. As I say, you can't swing at a dead cat without hitting a help wanted sign right now. They are everywhere. So, and also for all our seniors that have joined the military, I also want to thank you and my deepest appreciation. That's all.
I got nothing to add, but it's good to be back. So, motion to adjourn. Or what? No.
Announcements, we board met in May 10th and 13th for personnel real estate litigation. And just to notice that we've changed a couple dates over the summer. They've all been advertised in the paper already.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.